Well, I think even just telling them the origin of who this Saint Nicholas was, this bishop who
That's cool.
stumbled across a ton of money, I believe, right? And was like, how can I bless people with it? Like teaching them, what can you learn from that story? Who are the people in need in our own community? And that's not the magical piece, but the very practical piece of looking beyond yourself and looking past you receiving gifts on Christmas. It's like, how can we take what we have and bless others with it?
Hey, welcome back to Real Talk. Thanks for hanging out with us. She's Michál. I'm Brad. How do you like my flowing locks here?
It looks great on you.
I can feel like remember when you graduate and then you move it from one side to the other? I like that. I get to do that. This thing is kind of just a little bit heavy. Well, Thanksgiving is over. Halloween is over.
What's on
Labor
its way?
Day is over. Christmas is on its way.
On its way.
Are you excited?
I love Christmas. Yeah.
You don't love Christmas that much. You put up a fake tree.
Because it's the perfect height for our living room. There's rules about that.
That probably is true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I wanted to do the real tree thing, but then, yeah, when we moved into this house, it just didn't make sense.
Here's a behind the scenes for our viewers. I never started the clock. It's started now. We can begin. Yeah, okay, fine, fake tree. Do you decorate like crazy? You decorate like crazy.
I like decorating.
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
And the kids love it. Every year they beg us to do it earlier and earlier.
Oh, really?
When you take yours down, like
Yeah,
at
we do it
midnight
plenty
on
earlier.
December 25th.
I've taken the tree
practically.
down on Christmas Day before.
So when do you put it up? Like the day before?
No, first of all, we get a real tree. We go out in the forest and cut it down ourselves.
Yourself with a what?
And by forest, I mean one of those places where they specifically raise Christmas trees for you to go and cut down.
And do they provide you with an axe, or do you have to bring all that?
No, they give you a saw. Yeah, and you have to haul it out. You have to go out in the field with a little wagon, and you haul it all back in.
How long does the whole sawing thing
It's fun. My kids ride in the wagon, and I pull them along, which was cool when they were 5, and it's not that much fun now. They're in middle school, but a little heavy. It takes a few minutes to cut the thing down.
All right.
It's real, like, I don't know.
I think that would be a fun
fun.
tradition.
It's fun. All right. So it's Christmas, and we had a Real Talk conversation a few weeks ago. Was that me and Joe? Mm-hmm. Okay. Joe and I talked about Halloween and how we celebrate it. Now we're going to talk about how we celebrate Christmas.
Mm-hmm. And specifically,
Elf on the Shelf?
yeah.
Santa Claus?
Santa Claus.
All of the above?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all just the weird traditions that we've thrown in the modern era. They're fun, but some people actually think they're kind of harmless, right? I mean,
Not
harmful.
harmless. Yeah.
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 Some people are
I
really...
would say there's a little controversy over in
Yeah.
the church
Yeah.
about should we celebrate Santa?
Right.
I hope we should celebrate Christmas.
Christmas, yes. Although, there's no celebration of Christmas in the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Some people actually say we shouldn't because, like, the apostles don't celebrate Christmas. They celebrate the Lord's death.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Communion. But nobody celebrates
really
Christmas.
interesting.
Christmas
I've
wasn't
never heard someone
celebrated
say
for
that
like a
before.
few hundred years after Christ's birth.
And who started it?
I can't remember. Some emperor of something somewhere. I'm sure one of our viewers will give us a history lesson in the comments.
We're waiting.
Okay, so lots of tradition around Christmas. And it's easy to knock tradition, but tradition is fun and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And the family stuff or the stuff we do with our kids or we did as kids, it's fun. And I should say, not everyone's Christmas is sort of a Hallmark postcard Christmas, right?
Sure.
And so it's like, please don't hear me being insensitive. Lots of people, in fact, don't like Christmas. They want it to be done because it's a hard time.
It's hard. Yeah.
But even for those that have a hard time around Christmas, a lot of us grew up with some level of tradition around Christmas, right? Again, Santa. And we would go when I was a kid, we'd go to the mall, and Santa would come in, the fire truck would bring Santa to the mall.
Oh, yeah. He still comes to our neighborhood.
Oh, mine too.
Tosses out candy.
Mine too. That's fun.
So, yeah, I feel like even in schools, like just being a student in school,
I can barely
you're sweating
hear you.
to death.
I can barely hear you.
You celebrated Christmas.
Sure.
I feel like less and less now. But, yeah, I would say the average adult has some traditions, whether it was at home or at the school.
Yeah. So you grew up a pastor's kid. Was Santa a part of the mix?
You know, I was trying to think of that. I was like, thinking I should actually call my parents because he must have been a huge present because I honestly couldn't remember. There was like little Santa decorations around. I remember having those little Santa foot mugs that they would fill with M&Ms. So I think that they weren't like hardcore Santa haters, but I don't know, at the same time I don't think they were like Santa's coming, you better go to bed type of thing.
Okay.
Which I would say is very similar to what we did with our kids. It was kind of like everyone's doing it. I feel like I'm spoiling them of some fun if we don't talk this up. But I'll be completely honest. I didn't like the idea of Santa getting the attention, the credit for all of the hard work that we did.
Yeah. You know what? Because when I was a kid, Santa brought us our biggest gift.
Okay. And the rest were from your parents?
And the rest was from my parents,
okay.
Right? And one of my sisters was like, when she was first married, had kids, was like, wait a minute. Why is Santa getting the credit for the good stuff? And
exactly.
I was like, yeah, that's pretty good.
So we did it the stockings, their stockings, which we put at the foot of their bed, they wake up to.
Okay.
That was from Santa. The rest,
so you really
where credit is due, people.
So you latched onto the idea that it's okay, kids, you're fine. A creepy man just came into your room at night and left something at the foot of your bed.
A creepy
and
story,
watched
even
you
creepier.
Sleeping. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. I mean, it is interesting to think of Santa and what we do with that with our kids. And there's this whole, we'll go here in a minute, like this whole, like we maybe make it too much about that, right? Mm-hmm. But I've sort of wrestled with my kids. My kids are getting a little bit older, but when they were younger and they were starting to ask questions, it's like, what's the balance of, do I lie to them? But I don't want to ruin their innocence, and they have fun with this. And so I don't want to be the guy, I don't want to be the Grinch who's like just destroying all their fun little dreams, right? Like,
yeah, and I think that whole premise of, yes, is it wrong for Christians to celebrate Santa or tell stories about him? I feel like, do you do the tooth fairy? Like, to me, like, a lot of those little pretend things are just part of being children, is that you do lots of make-believe
it's the fairy tale stuff,
But I hear you on that. I think I struggled with the part where my son figured it out a little bit on the earlier side, and when he came to me and was like, Mom, I think Santa might not be real. And I was like, what do you think? And he had some pretty valid reasons. I did struggle in that moment to be like, do I keep this alive or not? Because if I don't in this moment and I choose to not tell him the truth, like, I don't want him years later to come back and be like, so you just flat out lied. When I came to you at age 5 and said this, this, and this, you chose to lie in that moment.
Right.
So I think for me, I was like, okay, he's figured it out. Like, I want to applaud him putting all the little clues together. Because it did. At that point, it felt like, okay, it's turning from make-believe fun story to I'm perpetuating a lie.
Right.
That's not to, I mean, I know a lot of parents are like, I want to keep the dream alive. Like,
totally. Because they don't want to ruin the innocence. Yeah.
Yeah. So no judgment there. But for me in that moment, I felt convicted to be like, all right. You figured it out. Don't ruin it for all the other kids you're going to school with.
Totally. Yeah. I think I found ways as my kids were starting to figure some of these things out. I found ways to sort of like not lie, but just kind of ask questions back to them. Like, well, what if? Do you think? You know, like kind of get it, kind of keep the mystery going without lying.
Keep their brains percolating on that. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, one of the interesting things is actually Santa Claus was sort of originated based on a real person who was a good dude.
Right. Loved Jesus.
Who, yes, by the way, loved Jesus and wanted to celebrate Jesus by being generous with people.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Santa's maybe not
all
bad.
Yeah.
So
and I feel like it makes it different from Halloween in that sense, where the people who struggle to celebrate Halloween, like the origin of that is very different from the origin of the story of St. Nicholas.
So, okay, so if we don't sort of embrace some of the cultural Santa stuff, there's something magical about that. Because I'm just thinking about our kids, and as they grow out of some of this stuff, it loses some of its sort of, I don't know, magical kind of stuff. But actually, Christmas is really full of
pretty magical in and of itself.
Yeah. Kind of wonder and splendor, right?
Yeah. So how can you capture that?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Can you capture it without the whole Santa element?
And how do we do it in a way that's I'm not trying to be overly churchy, overly Christian here, but it's like I know for our family with 3 kids, like we're trying to slow down every Christmas and go, how do we have fun, give each other great gifts? We love giving each other presents. Like we're not going to write all that off and say, "Oh, we're not doing that." We have a big Christmas tree. We love decorating our house and still focus on Jesus. Like we're fighting for ways to still do that.
Well, I think even just telling them the origin of who this Saint Nicholas was, this bishop who
That's cool.
stumbled across a ton of money, I believe, right? And it was like, how can I bless people with it? Like teaching them what can you learn from that story? Who are the people in need in our own community? And that's not the magical piece, but the very practical piece of looking beyond yourself and looking past you receiving gifts on Christmas. It's like, how can we take what we have and bless others with it? Like, who's in need in our community? And I feel like that's such a great lesson for them to learn at a super young age.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And I think finding there's no right or necessarily specific kind of formulaic way to do this, right? It's like I know some really good friends of ours that they go and serve food to families in need on Christmas Day as a family, and they've been doing it for like years. That works for them. That might not work for other families, but it's like them. That's what they do. So it's for every family, for every individual, it's like finding some way. There's something about the holiday season that brings something out in us that we want to be generous because God is generous with us by giving us His Son.
Right.
We want that to flow out of us. It's funny how even for non-Christians, that seems to be the thematic part of this season.
Christmas, yes.
Yeah, so you'll have people being great philanthropists around Christmas and things like that and wanting to engage in their community. There's a desire that's in us. We witnessed from God what generosity is, and we want to be that way. So for every individual, sort of finding your space to do that.
I had a neighbor who she had her children, they would unwrap all of their presents, and then they had to choose one that they would then donate to.
That's awful.
And I was like, I hear the heart in that, and I feel for that child.
Pick your least favorite gift, Timmy, and give that piece of crap to some kid who doesn't have anything else. What? Sorry.
And yet you hear
It's
just
good.
going back to what you're saying, like there is something about Christmas, I think the average person, whether their Christmas is Christ-centered or not, that there's something about Christmas that makes people want to be generous, that they know that there's something outside of them that they should be giving towards.
Yeah.
I would say another thing that I struggle with the whole Santa part is this is a nice, pure story in and of itself, but people use Santa as this way to manipulate their kids to obey. Like,
What do you mean?
Oh, you better obey. You
Oh.
get good grades. You better clean up your toys or Santa's not going to give you
Because Santa's
presents.
watching.
Yes, Santa is watching. Again,
This
a little
guy's
bit of a
creepy.
creepy. Yeah. But I feel like that contradicts the story of Santa. I'm like pointing to this like this is Santa. But not only does it contradict the story of St. Nicholas, but it contradicts the story of the Bible,
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do we really want to be instilling in our children that, like, we can earn gifts or God's grace or forgiveness or love? Like, I just feel like that part feels icky.
Okay, I'm good with that. So where do we land? Like, celebrate Christmas, have fun, embrace the tradition in a way that's like just receive it, make it part of what you do. And we're not worshiping Santa, and we can have fun with it. But are we not lying to our kids anymore? Is that the deal?
I mean, I stopped.
Your kids are a little older than mine. I mean, I don't know.
But yeah, I think that there's ways that you can tie in both. But at the end of the day, I would hope that we're all driving the focus around Jesus. Like, it's fun. It's fun to have
Right. We don't
traditions.
have to
It's fun to
run
make
from
reindeer
everything in
food for the
culture.
reindeer in your driveway. Like, those are cute and fun things. But at the end of the day, would your kids be able to say, what is Christmas really about? Do they know it's about Jesus?
Right.
And that there's these little fun things that surround it too? I
Right.
feel like you can have a little of both.
Good. I hate my kids leave out milk and cookies for Santa, which I'm all for. I eat those.
Did you eat them?
But they leave out carrots for the reindeer. I'm not eating
You're
carrots.
not gonna eat those.
That's terrible.
Do your dogs like them? I feel like some dogs
Oh,
like carrots.
I could try that. See if my dogs will eat them.
There you go.
So Christmas, have fun with it, embrace the tradition, don't lie to your kids, and find ways to make it about Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you one of those elf on the shelf moms?
I gave it a year, and I was really bad at it. And then this is actually, we didn't read the rule book, so my boys were at someone else's house and picked up their elf on the shelf, and there were tears.
Apparently you're not supposed to touch the elf
Oh.
ever.
PSA, don't touch the
Don't
elf.
touch the elf.
See you next time.